Sometimes a company may hire a contractor who is engaged in plying, hiring, or leasing of goods carriage. Goods carriage could be something like a truck or other things. Right? So if a company hires a person who gives truck on lease, the question is, these charges, is TDS covered under 194C? And if so, when? So if a contractor is engaged in the business of plying, hiring or leasing of goods carriage, first thing you need to see is how many goods carriage does he owns. If the contractor owns 10 or less goods carriage at any time during the previous year, or he owns more than 10 goods carriage at any time during the previous year. So even if he had in the beginning of the year 8 and later on he acquired 4 more during the year, the total he had was 12. What this means is that at any time during the year, he had more than 10 goods carriage. Therefore, he will be covered under this clause. But if, let's say, for example, in the beginning, he had 4 and he acquired 4 more, then what that means is he had a maximum of 8 during the year and he will be covered here. The third situation can be in the beginning he was owning 12 and he sold 4. At the end of the year, he had 8. But because at any time during the year means even at the beginning, again it will get covered here. Let's come back to this. So if he has 10 or less goods carriage, the second question you need to ask is whether the contractor has furnished a declaration to the effect that it owns less than 10 carriage and given a PAN number. So as per section 194C, subsection 6, if he gives this declaration that he owns less than 10 or less than 10 carriage, plus he gives a PAN number, then there is no liability to deduct TDS. But if he does not give this declaration or it does not give a PAN number, then the TDS has to be deducted. What rate? 1% if the contractor is an individual or HUF, and 2% if the contractor is other than an individual or HUF. Right? There's a ruling also where in respect of payment made to the transporters, assessee rectified PAN of those transport operators who had given wrong PAN originally. It was held that the AO could not deny the benefit of 194C(6) in respect of such payment. So this case was that if originally the PAN number which was given was wrong and later it was rectified, then there cannot be a case for the AO to deny the benefit of 194C(6) to the AO. Now, some of the important clarifications from CBDT, the Central Board of Direct Taxes, on deduction of TDS under 194C are as under. Whether TDS is deductible on bank charges. In Circular number 681, the CBDT has clarified that payment to banks for discounting bills, collecting or receiving payments through checks or drafts, opening and negotiating letter of credit, and transaction and negotiable instrument are not covered under 194C and no tax is deductible on such charges. Second is whether payment to electrician or a contractor who provides the services of an electrician are covered under 194C. And the answer to that is yes. Now, if there is a contractor who provides the services of an electrician, this could even be the case of supply of labor. Again, is section 194C applicable on payments made to courier agencies for carrying documents, letters, parcels, etc.? The answer is yes. Such payments amount to carriage of goods and is therefore liable for deduction under 194C. Now, in case of hotel industries, when you go and take a room in a hotel, the hotel also provides you various other services. These are optional, like beauty salon, barber shop, car rental, etc., who are living in the hotel. The issue is, on such payment, is TDS deductible under 194C? Because generally the room rent given to hotel in specific cases may be covered under 194I, which is towards payment of rent. In the case of East India Hotel Limited, it has been held that services like beauty salon, barber shop, car rental laundry, health club, etc., rendered by a hotel to its customer in providing hotel room with various facilities amenities are not covered under the definition of work under Section 194C of the Act. Now, in case of transportation industry, what can happen is that suppose there's a buyer and there's a seller, right? The seller has sold certain goods to the buyer and paid transportation charges to the transport agency. So suppose to transfer these goods, he got into an agreement with the transport agency and made a payment to them of, let's say, 10,000, not 10,000, let's say 1 lakh. And on this they deducted TDS of 2,000. The goods which were supplied were, let's say, for 10 lakh. Plus the freight was charged. The question is that if this buyer reimburses this travel agency cost to the seller, is he again supposed to deduct TDS on this amount? Right? Numerically, the numbers here are different, right? So consideration for goods is 1 lakh, reimbursement for transportation charges is 10,000, and the seller has complied with the withholding tax provisions at the time of payment to transport agency. Now, given that the amount is 10,000, one question may come up that since this is less than 30,000, am I even supposed to withhold the tax here or not? You can assume that the total payment for reimbursement charges made by this buyer to seller for various contracts is, let's say, 50,000. Right? During the year, or maybe let's say 5 lakh, not why 50,000. Now, considering that case, if I just look at this isolated case of 10,000 here, the position is that there is no TDS which has to be deducted on reimbursement of transport charges, provided to seller under Section 194C if the seller has paid transport charges to the vendor and has complied with the TDS provisions, which means that if the seller paid these charges to the vendor and had deducted TDS on that, then when the reimbursement happens, there is no need to again deduct TDS on this. Now, in case of airline company, if you take a plane and you get a ticket, you will see that there are various advertisements which are there on those tickets. Even on the plane, you may sometimes see that there are various advertisements of companies which are displayed. So the question is that if a real estate company entered into a contract with the airline company, whereby the airline company displayed real estate company's logo on the aircraft, the tickets, the boarding passes, the baggages, the bags, etc., is TDS supposed to be deducted under 194C? Here, in this case, in the case of Sahara India Commercial Corporation, it was held that TDS to be applied under Section 194C on payments made by real estate company to the airline for publicizing its business. Right? It was held that advertisement includes publicity, but vice versa may not be true, which means if you make a payment for publicity, that may not necessarily be advertisement. Whenever publicity of brand or logo brings commercial benefit, either apparent or hidden, it will assume the character of an advertisement. In case of shipping company, what can happen is, suppose there's a shipping company and there's a vendor. The vendor entered into an agreement with shipping company for providing ships on hire. Right? The shipping company paid higher charges to the vendor and didn't deduct TDS under Section 194C. So the shipping company, instead of using their own ships, hired ships from this vendor. Is TDS liable under Section 194C? In case of Poompuhar Shipping Corporation Limited, it was held that the term hire is not defined in the IT Act, right? And therefore, the word hire has to be interpreted as per the normal meaning. Normal hire is a contract by which one gives to the other temporary possession of use of property other than money for payment of consideration and later agrees to return the property after expiry of the agreed period. Right? So the payment for hire charges will not fall within Section 194C. Now, the position has now been clarified because effective 13/7/2016, the charges paid for hiring of an asset are covered under Section 194I relating to rent. There is another circular number 1 of 2008, dated 10/1/2008, where the issue which was clarified was whether cooling charges paid to the cold storage owner are liable for deduction under 194C. It has been held or it has been provided in the circular that the arrangement between the customer and cold storage owner are contractual in nature and hence covered under section 194C. They are not covered under 194. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, you can subscribe to our channel to stay updated on more such videos. You can like these videos and also share it with your friends. And if you're looking for material on this particular subject, you can visit us on our website at www.arinjayacademy.com.